What's up, guys? Raziel here again, and we are a mere 10 days from the recording of this video to the release or the early access of Final Fantasy XIV's expansion Shadowbringers. This video is a bit of a PSA, and no, I don't mean prostate-specific antigen, nor more of a public service announcement. Or you know what? It, even better. It is a personal self-advice video. Personal self-advice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, anyway, let's get right into the video.
I am Raziel.
Alright guys, as a forewarning, this video is not scripted. I did write down some notes, so you'll see me kind of looking at my notes, but I like to go off the cuff a little bit more. I try to script things as little as possible. So, of course, you know what that means. This is a fucking Raziel video, so that means this is going to be more of an audio video, more so than visual. So, if you got shit to do around the house, got shit to do, you know, you're driving in your car, it's a good time to listen to the video, just to give yourself some reminders before Shadowbringers launches. If you're anywhere near as excited as I am for it, this dog, man. If you're anywhere near as excited as I am for it, yeah, these will be some good friendly reminders. So let's just get right into it. First, what I want you guys to remember at the launch of Shadowbringers is expect hiccups to happen. You know, some server queues. As Yoshi P stated, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, and right now, the game is at more subs than it's ever been in its history. I'm estimating it's somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million people, and it's only going to increase with Shadowbringers over the next few weeks. So expect some hiccups. Now, there are some caveats to that, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. We've already had some more additional servers, where the fuck did I learn how to speak English? Anyway, there are going to be additional servers. They've already been added to the game, which, you know, is more than we can say about a lot of other MMOs in the market right now. With the data migration that happened recently, we saw servers added to both Aether and Primal, and then splits into a whole nother data center in North America. And now we had it recently announced in the most recent live letter that the European data center are getting 2 new servers as well. Hey, dog, shut your God damn, you can bury your toy later. Okay. So, the next pro tip coming your way. Take advantage of the world visit system. This is why it was implemented in the first place. If you're on a super crowded realm, super crowded world, you know, full to high population, maybe the night before you transfer, not pay transfer, but world visit your character onto another lower population server, so that you don't have to deal with, you know, you're less likely to deal with queues and with issues and things like that. If we look back at Stormblood's launch, overall the servers themselves were pretty stable, but big caveat in there. I'll get into that right now. Square actually learns from the failures of their past launches. Let's explore that a little bit. Give me a quick second. I'm going to take this damn dog's toy away. So, back on point. Square actually learns from the failures of their past. If we look back to Stormblood, one of the biggest problems that plagued people pretty much nullifying the early access days was the Raban quest. A lot of people totally turned it into a meme. It became Raban Savage, where a quest that is a single player instance was bottlenecking players pretty early on in the storyline and the leveling up process, and completely everyone was just fucked until they could, you know, balance it out. To fix that and ensure that doesn't happen this time, Square has added more servers. They have added a better and smarter queuing system for those types of things, so that people aren't just spamming a quest like that. When a quest like that occurs and the servers are too full to handle it, it will put you in a queue that you can see, the same way when you queue up for a duty, and you will be in line and you will get through. Also, the world visit system is also designed to counter this. If your server is super loaded, you can go onto another one for free and finish the quest that way. And on top of that, we learned through many apologies from Yoshi P himself that the team made very sure to not have a single player instance quest early on into the quest line. The first one's going to be a ways in, so that players right out of the gate aren't getting bottlenecked by it. Okay, let's move on to another major point, another PSA, if you will. Expect quite a few balance changes during the first 6 weeks. Okay, during the first 6 weeks of Shadowbringers, just be ready for it. It happens every expansion. You have to keep in mind, Square has no beta, closed or open or otherwise, for any of their Final Fantasy expansions. A Realm Reborn had a beta, but that was because it was a launch of a new game. But the expansions don't have them. It's not like, World of Warcraft, where World of Warcraft has 3-4 months of alpha, and then 7-6 months of beta, and then 2 weeks of the patch that changes, the pre-patch before the expansion that changes everything they were going to change, that you get to experience for 2 weeks. Final Fantasy has none of that. They don't do that. Everything is tested internally. The only time anybody gets any hands-on is at like the media event, and that was only 3 days. So all of their feedback has been internal and what they received over those 3 days. So be ready. They know everything's not in the most perfect spot potency-wise and mechanic-wise for every single job. Don't abandon your job that you want to play right out of the gate because, it sucks and it's going to be trash. And I'm going to get into examples of how you're dead fucking wrong if you think that way. TLDR, don't cry like a bitch, because right now one of the biggest things I've seen on YouTube among creators and on Twitch, and a lot of questions I get in my own streams, is outrage about healer changes right now. Some outrage, not much, about tank changes and, shit like that. When that we haven't even seen any context that provide a foundation for these complaints. The only thing we saw in the media event and even in the last live letter was a level 73 dungeon run. So you can't base the changes that have been done to any of the jobs until you actually experience all the 70 to 80 content, and then actually get in and start doing some raids in the normal mode raids when they come out 2 weeks in, then Savage 4 weeks in. But expect even by the time that normal mode raid opens, Eden on normal, you're going to see some pretty hefty changes, especially for some specific jobs. So the jobs that I expect to see the heaviest changes in the first 6 weeks is Gunbreaker and Dancer, of course, because they're brand new jobs. People have to get their hands on them, get into the rotation, and I'm sure that certain mechanics are going to be funky and not work the way Square intended them to, and that's going to get resolved. All jobs across the board are going to have potencies adjusted. But the biggest ones are Gunbreaker, Dancer, Scholar, and Monk from what I saw, what was presented to us at the media event. So that's what I expect to get changed the most. But I think every job is going to get touched. Now, I'm going to give you some examples, all right? Because as I mentioned World of Warcraft earlier, I remember back in Legion in the beta, there was a huge complaint about Blood Death Knights. I brought this up before in my Twitch stream and in other videos as well. But the Blood Death Knight, among many other classes, had some very, very huge problems, all during their alpha and beta. The same problem never got addressed in the first 2 weeks where everyone had access to the job, to the class. It was still there, it didn't happen, and it never even got fixed until near the end of the first raid tier. So Square doesn't roll that way. They actually make changes fucking fast because they care. If you love the job, they want every job to be relevant, and they want to minimize the meta. And we all know what we say, fuck the meta. They want to minimize that as much as humanly possible, and they've even openly stated that, especially with this expansion. So just to give you some examples, some jobs were in very dire straits at the launch of Stormblood, which Stormblood's early access was in June 15th of 2017. On July 3rd, So 2 weeks later, Paladin, Dark Knight, Ninja, Bard, and Warrior all got quite a few changes. And then 2.5, 3 weeks after that, on July 25th, Paladin got some more changes. Huge Warrior overhaul on the job, where it then became the, arguably the best tank in the game and remained so for the rest of the expansion. Dark Knight got more buffs. Dragoon got a bunch of buffs. Machinist got a bunch of buffs. Black Mage got a bunch of buffs and changes. Summoner got a bunch of changes. White Mage got a ass load of changes. Scholar got a bunch of changes. Astrologian got some big... Generally, all the healers got changed quite a bit. So, my advice to you during, the launch of this is to play the story, enjoy it, go with the job that you think is going to be the most fun. And even if you find a job that's fun, but you're like, man, this mechanic doesn't feel right, or I'm not doing as much healing or as much damage, or I can't hold threat, or I can't tank as well as the other jobs, be fucking patient. Don't flavor of the month hop around to different jobs, because you're not going to enjoy yourself that way. A lot of changes are going to come in the first 6 weeks, the same way it was with Heaven's Word and Stormblood. The devs, as I said earlier, are passionate about their game. You can see it in they enjoy and love the game so much, and they enjoy and love the fans so much, especially Yoshi P. And they want everyone to enjoy the job that they choose, and that every job stays viable. And again, they're trying to, this expansion, especially, they've came out and stated that they want to minimize the meta as much as possible. So anyway, guys, this has been my PSA for, we're only 10 days, practically 9 now, away from early access to Shadowbringers, and I'm really, really, really stoked. I'm pumped. I'm sure many of you guys are as well. If you are, let me know why. If you're not, let me know why. This has been a public service announcement by Raziel, so I'm going to be streaming Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers Early Access, so you can sit in a fucking queue with me and stare at a screen. But I'm going to be streaming Early Access, and I'll probably be streaming for the majority of the first week that it's out. I took the week off work just so I could play it. Like I said, I haven't been this excited for an expansion since Wrath of the Lich King way back in the fucking day. So, everybody, thanks so much for the massive amounts of support. My channel is growing very quickly, and I really, really appreciate it, the love and support that I get, both here on YouTube and on my stream. If you're interested in watching my stream at all, the links on the screen now. You can come hang out with me, shoot the shit with me. If you have any questions, if you're a new player to the game, I'm more than willing to answer them. If you ask a dumb question, I'm more than willing to mock you. And we all have a good time, especially on Thursdays when it's kind of drinking night, Thursday night, where we get a little hammered on stream, but why not? Makes it more fun. Anyway, guys, this has been Raziel. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with more content really soon, and of course, keep it real.